What aspect of grant application do you think is often overlooked? So I didn't just have one answer for this one, but I did narrow it down to my top three of what I most see overlooked when I work with my clients and also when I'm doing grant reviewing. The first one is forgetting that when we do a grant application, getting the money is to fund your solution. Getting the money is not the solution. And if there is a solution that you're looking for that the money is funding, that means you're supposed to have a problem that you are solving. And the reason why I'm saying it that way is because I often, for people who are new to grants, so it's a completely understandable first mistake to make, but they tend to jump right to, I need the money to do the thing without spending enough time talking about what problem they want to solve for. And for the granting agencies, that can be frustrating because they do want to help you. That is their job. They want to give money to help you, but they need to know what the problem is, because the problem, as far as they are concerned, is not that you don't have the money. It has to be different than that. The money is supposed to solve a different problem, and that problem is not that you don't have money. So keep that in mind. And that's something that I definitely spend some more time on in the book that I wrote, A Survivor's Guide to Museum Grant Writing. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit and send you a link for it. But this is like foundational part number one to constructing a good grant project, is to know what problem you're solving for. Second one, which is perhaps a little on the easier side to implement, and yet so many people aren't quite aware of it, is to consider that you need to work within the grant lexicon. And so lexicon is a gathering of words and a language that we use to describe and work within a certain profession or subject area. So as collection workers, archivists, curators, registrars, we have our own lingo, our own lexicon of the words and the acronyms that we tend to use. And it's the same thing for these granting agencies. So I need you to be sensitive and attuned to, when you are looking at a grant opportunity that you think you're going to apply for, you need to review and read through the grant opportunity and pay attention to the way it describes itself and describes the types of problems it's looking to solve, and start writing, like highlighting those words, writing those words down. That is the lexicon that I want you to work within when you start writing your grant application, because the grant reviewers, they are going to be working off of whatever the granting agency supplies them as their rubric, which means that they're going to be working off of the grant lexicon or the language that that granting agency is using. So you need to make sure you're using the same language to make it easier on the grant reviewer's part to flag that you are talking about the same thing and you are definitely checking that box. Even if you're using similar language, I often counsel my clients to use the exact language that is used within the grant opportunity notice, just to make that job easier on the grant reviewer's part, because if they automatically see those words, they can more easily flag that you are definitely a match, versus seeing synonyms for words and thinking, okay, well, maybe they're talking about digital preservation in the same way this granting agency thought of, but I'm not 100%. You do not want any room for error in that interpretation. So that's why I usually recommend that, and that's why it's usually overlooked. And then the third one that is often overlooked when people are putting together their grant proposals is the accountability factor. Again, there's so much focus on, we need money to solve our problems, which is not a great place to come from, at least in terms of competition. And so we really need to make sure that not only are we making a great case for why we are wanting to solve this problem, but then talking about how we are going to hold ourselves accountable and demonstrate that we have solved for that problem and have done what we said we were going to do. So this is thinking about how are we going to measure success? How are we going to keep ourselves accountable? Thinking about what those parameters look like and communicating that to the granting agency will help them feel more at ease that you are sincere in what it is that you want to do, and there are clear indications as to whether or not you did what you said you were going to do. So great question. Thank you.